There are 5 this semester, and today we're going to be talking about weight loss. And we have a person on our faculty at the college that certainly is a wealth of information about this and a lot of other topics. So without further ado, I'll ask him to come forward. But as you leave, please make sure you take your nutrition assistant. They used to be stress balls, but now, when you're hungry, you chew them. Assist you in losing weight.
Thanks a lot. That's great. Let's pray. Father, what a great privilege it is for us as an organization to pause and reflect on the great God that we have, that came in the flesh and ate and participated and even died for us. What a physical religion that permeates our entire being. What a delight that you're going to resurrect us in physical form. That we may even have some residue of this life, just like you showed your scars even in your transformed body. And that we can even celebrate with food in heaven, that we will be consumers, because you delighted in us being in a world that is interactive. Thank you for the great social communities that surround our faith, and the opportunity even now that we can join together and consider this most wonderful creation, the apex, which we're privileged to live in, this body, and mind and spirit, somehow reflecting your great glory. Thank you for this honor to talk with these employees, and may you be blessed. May the information be useful, not only in our own lives, but to better your kingdom. In Christ's name, amen. Well, I get 40 minutes to talk to you, and I'm going to start talking about a rope. What do you think this could represent? Yeah, it could be. You're a tussin. It's all tangled up there at the bottom. I'd be a little worried. Wow, this could be your... No.
That's my hair.
Yeah. And how much of this can you really control? It's amazing. This whole thing is just about automatic, isn't it? Smooth muscle tissue, everything happens. This is awesome what this thing does. I mean, you could spend a life just studying what happens from this end to defecation, right, on the other end. And we get about 2 inches where we actually control it. Once you put it in, your body's going to extract everything it can out of it. It's just amazing what this physiology can do, and so I'm intrigued. Now, when we talk about weight loss, my mind right away sends up a red flag, because I know we shouldn't be talking about weight loss. What should we be talking about? Fat loss, right? Actually, you lose about 5 pounds a decade of muscle. Guess what happens? We're still going up in scale weight, and our ratios change. And so we really need to think holistically about our stored energy and how that relates to health and well-being. Many of you have a number in your head. All right, I could probably go around right now and say, what do you want to be on a scale weight? And you could tell me. And I would go, where did you get that from? And you go, I don't know. Somehow it was transmitted by my culture. And I have it, and I want it. And many of you want a high-performance scale weight. In other words, you want to be an athlete, but not put in the time and energy. But you want to have that tone and definition and ratio of lean body tissue to stored energy, fat. And our world is making buco dollars. If we can keep you handicapped to short-term goals and this form or scale weight that's unrealistic, unless you want to be an athlete. And of course, the diseases go up, but they don't go up for a while. I mean, you can have some stored energy that's different than what that scale weight is in your mind. But however, as our culture becomes fatter and fatter, and you know we're in an epidemic situation right now, our risks go up. And so we have to endure a high-risk lifestyle as people store more calories. All we're talking about is energy. The farther you get away from energy for today, and you're storing it up a week or a month ahead of time. The farther you get your, I don't know, barns, whatever it is, storehouses of wealth, of caloric wealth or energy, and they're stored up ahead of schedule, there's more disease. So we all get that way because we have really glorified food. I mean, we have our highest psychologists and chemists and marketers getting into your head, and we know exactly when to give you a free coupon. As a Dutchman, I can hardly set down a coupon from Culver's, and they know exactly when to do it. They have profiles on me. When I use my cards for a Jewel and so forth, they know exactly. They're not wasting me with coupons that I don't eat that food. They just know when I start dropping off a little bit from their product, they hit me again. So we have to be incredibly savvy, smart, because we have conditioning that's going on at the apex of our abilities as educated people. And there's a real effort to keep you with what we would call an external locus of control, that you can't help yourself. It's your genetics, all right, or it's your mother, it's your upbringing, it's your society. And you can almost hear it coming out. You listen to the commercials. It's trying to keep you helpless. And then of course, stepping in and going, if you buy this product, you're going to see it just like that. You don't even have to sweat. You don't even have to feel uncomfortable. We can do it with you actually feeling comfortable. Where, as far as I can tell, the design of the body, we were made to work. We take your body up in space, you're not going to last long unless you work an hour hard a day. And the only reason why we can't travel long distances in space is we can't get enough physical work on the body. It atrophies so fast. So we have gravity, thank God. It's just not enough. God said, I don't want them just tired by just moving around in a sedentary way and be exhausted at the end of the day, physically. We really need an energy expenditure that would be in addition to that. Now in the garden, we were complex carbohydrates. Read it, right? Fruits, grains, vegetables. It was after the flood that he goes, I just wiped out the vegetation kingdom. It's going to be very hard to get complete proteins. So you can start eating animal. And we went, whoa, does that taste good? We like it. We like meat. In fact, the higher priced meats you pay for because of it being laced with fat. Fat, the way it slides down our throat is really addicting. I mean, we like that. I mean, when you eat chicken, the best part of the chicken is the skin, right? That crunchy, we know how to make it just right. I had an aunt that would take the tongs going into some of these buffet things, and she'd bounce that little chicken until all the skin came off, and that's all she ate, because it tastes so good. But you can actually take and chew on that gristle on the skin and squeeze it, and you can get a couple tablespoons of fat, and then you got a sheet. Oh man, it was so good. It was so good right here. But I know what it's going to do the rest of the way. Just have a lot of napkins, I guess. Spit it all out, and then you get to the meat, and you can still have some fun. Until I teach college, right? I get a little gross at the time. We actually are kind of like on a three-legged stool, and that is as it relates to diet, exercise, and this rhythm of life or time management. We do know that if we can get you stressed, there are some stress hormones that help hold and keep fat. So we have to actually look at your lifestyle and pattern of living and how you cope, because it really is profound. I mean, everything's integrated and interactive. But we're kind of on the fueling of the body. One of my favorite theological overheads. I don't get it. We eat the same things. Why am I so fat? What the big toe thinks about. We do have ectomorphs, little rails that can eat anything they want. And then we have the mesomorphs. I fall in that category. And then we have the endomorphs. And those are large bone, large muscles, more rounded people. Our society wants, pretty much mesomorphs, leaning towards ectomorphs. Actually, the women, you tend to want to be a little toe or the one right next to it. And so it's actually physiological impossible for your big toe to actually lose enough weight to be like a little toe. But as it were, our society says that's your goal. And it was learned. It's taught that way, and it's part of that helplessness. Guys, it's not so bad. We kind of want to be a middle toe. Don't want to be a little scrawny kid. Don't want to be overweight or endomorph or large. but kind of be in the middle there. So we know our women have more of an issue with this just because you tend to want to be more of an ectomorph. Probably heard this, brain cells come and brain cells go, fat cells live forever. And that is true in a way. You get the last trimester of pregnancy is when you get fat cells. The first 2 years of life, great proliferation there. It depends on lifestyle there, and family, and some genetics. And then during adolescence. And that's when you really get your fat cells. Then, for a long time we said, that's all the fat cells you're going to have. But if we keep those fat cells enlarging, we can actually have longitudinal splitting, and then you have more fat cells. So once you have fat cells, you're never going to lose them. All right, they don't melt away, and your body draws from the energy. This is God's design. It draws from the energy proportionally from all your fat cells. So if I'm doing sit-ups, and I go, I think there's a relationship between sit-ups and the fat that's jiggling on top of it, I had a wrong theology. God said, no, there is no such relationship of proximity. If I work this arm, I'm going to lose as much fat off this one that's hanging there. All right? So I'm going to get a little more definition. You see tennis players, they have pretty big arms on one side of their body. You know, they lost their symmetry because that's muscle definition and bone, which is a good thing. But their fat would be the same on both. So there's no relationship between the muscle and the fat jiggling on top. There's no connection there. The only thing you have is this 60,000-mile circulatory system, and that's how you connect your 100 trillion cells together. So we really look at circulation and breathing, and then we look at the density of your body, because it's the dense part of your body that's going to burn the calories. All right? You go, okay, so I want to lose weight. I got an idea. I'll go hungry. That's how we gain weight. Or I say, I know what, I'll deny myself huge blocks of food. I'll go high protein. Well, I got athletes that are on high protein kind of gain weight. And you're saying you're going to go on high protein to lose weight. And was high protein the model in the Garden of Eden? Well, we're going to look in a little bit at the habits of highly successful dieters. These are people that lost 100 pounds, kept it off for 2 years. Don't you want to find out how they did it? Because we can lose more weight than anybody else. Any other culture, we lose more weight in America, we just gain it back and more. And we're finding out people that yo-yo have more disease risks than the people that are just overweight. So when I tell you this, what we're going to do, if you say, I want to lose weight after this, you better decide that you're going to really do it as a lifestyle, and everything kind of changes in the process. And it's a different lifestyle. It's just not when I eat or when I sit down, and it's not kind of compartmentalized. It's evasive. We look at the whole life, and to help you do that, I'll hand out some materials. So sensory overload. You can just kind of soft focus on this. If we really to unearth eating behavior, you take a 3-credit nutrition course. And we would really look at the psychology and the sociology. We're not going to get into that. Just to say that as your knowledge increases, all right, things change. So educated people eat differently. Because we know. So you're going to get a little bit of education today, and that will be an impetus to say, okay, I can make some slight changes. And all we're doing is talking about tweaking, slight changes. Well, what is obesity? It's the #1 untreated chronic disease in our country. What's chronic?
Ongoing.
It's never going to go away. Right? It's never going to be a day where you go, got that thing. It's like an alcoholic. You got a disease. We're going to have to treat it. We got to treat it the rest of your life. I don't know why God chose you that way. In our culture, we're in balance right now. There's not a good balance in our ecology, right? We're using up the resources in our earth. We're consumers. And we're not being good stewards, as it were, on a lot of fronts. And this is one of the areas, and so we've lost a balance. It's growing. It costs a lot. Your genetic permits it, but really it's your environment, it's your lifestyle, which we can manipulate. 80% of this, let me say it again, about 80% of this, you have the controls. 20%, choose your parents wisely. All right, and it's chronic, it's a lifelong treatment. So we're looking at a lifestyle, you go, well, you know what? I don't want to live that lifestyle. It's too different and I'm so comfortable, all right? I just like doing my evening sedentary routine. I spend all my energy during the day, mental energy, emotional, nervous energy. Welcome to Trinity. We all got a job and a half to 2 jobs, right? If not, see me, I got something I'd love to delegate. And then we come home and we're spent on certain areas, but we didn't spend our calories. You know, that's another expenditure. Well, how do you get rid of those? You know, and what does that take? So like I said, even as we lose weight, we're not going to reduce your fat cells. So they're always there ready to grow, all right? And so we're going to look at what we call a set point theory. And it's an effort on our part to understand possibly how our body's designed. When you say, I want to lose weight, okay, weight, you're not talking about fat yet, you're still there, I know where you're at. You want to lose weight, okay, how much weight do you want to lose? And you say 2, 5, 10, 15, 30, 60, no. I go, okay, how long do you want to take? Yesterday. Right, the closer we get to thinking in weeks and even months, we can actually increase your failure rate. All right, so anytime you tell me I want to lose it in 2 weeks, we got a 95% failure rate. If you say I want to lose more than a ½ pound a week, you're probably pretty high on the failure rate. You go, oh shoot, this is going to take a long time. Yeah, when you tell me you want to lose weight, you say you want to lose 2 pounds, I say, okay, you want to lose 2 pounds? Yeah, I want to do it in a week. Or I could do it this weekend. Okay, what are you going to lose? I know you're not going to lose fat, because we're talking energy. And it takes an incredible amount of energy expenditure to burn a true pound of fat. You can lose water, take protein, you can lose water right away. Right? You can sweat, it's gone. Get dehydrated. But if you want to lose fat, a whole different thing, it's slow. All right, so if you say I want to lose 2 pounds, my mind hears you want to lose 104 pounds. Because a year is the minimum I want to work with you on this. If we go any shorter than that, we fail, we gain fat. So think about what you want to lose in a year's time. And then we can make a decision. You probably gained 1 pound to 2 pounds a year. Shake your head.
Yes.
So you're probably going to want to lose 1 pound to 2 pounds a year. And we get great success. How do we do that? Well, we need to look at that. First of all, let's look at 5 pounds of fat. I just happen to have some, all right? Kind of got the color, nice little yellow look. Doctors have to cut through all this stuff to get to the organs. It's a little challenging. And, you know, guys tend to have this as an inner tube. Ladies sometimes like to hide it in other places. We know it's in there somewhere, you know, get it in there. But, you know, we can easily hide 5 pounds of fat. Okay, here's 5 pounds of fat. I want you to actually, this is a tactile part of class, you know, and we'll pass it around. You don't even want to touch it now. But, oh, go ahead. It's just. Now, I actually keep this hidden away. This is awesome stuff. All right, this is heavy, dense. Ooh, what is this? Muscle. That's the same weight. Look at this. This is 5 pounds of muscle. Fat, pretty big, pretty spacious. This stuff weighs you down on the scale, up it goes. You have a dense, lean, hard body when you have muscle. What burns calories?
Muscle.
If you're thinking long term, God wants us to have definition. He wants bones that are dense. The way you get those is by doing this. And muscles which wrap very tight around the bone. You get tone, lean, and hard, you go down in size, but you don't change on the scale. And if you really think about this, I can change this for about 48 hours by doing a workout. But it starts to atrophy within 48 hours. It starts to leave. This good stuff leaves. And obviously, what doesn't leave my body that can be stored without much calories at all. This takes a lot of calories to keep. All right? This is about 35 calories a pound at rest. All right? Now you take 35 calories a pound at rest, and say you got 5 pounds of muscle hidden on your body because of an active lifestyle, and you multiply that by 365 days, and now if you want to write this down, 1 pound of fat, how many calories is that? Ladies know this stuff. Get past this one. You can touch this one, that's fine.
3,500.
That's 5 pounds of muscle, the other one's 5 pounds of fat. 3,500 calories. All right, wahoo! All right, 3,500 calories for 1 pound of fat. So if you divided that by the calories difference that you'd like in reference to loss, you'd kind of do the math and figure out how long it would take you. Say if you wanted to lose 200 calories a day. Let's say 300. 300 calories a day. I want to lose 3,500 calories is 1 pound of fat, and I want to change my energy intake expenditure by 300 calories, and I'm going to start doing it by a workout. By golly, I'm going to start exercising. I'm going to get up and walk. I'm a walker. All right? I tell the college kids, you got plenty of time to walk. I mean, walking is almost a bone exercise. You don't use much calories here. And I like the people that walk, and it's like a leisure, like, you know. I go, do you know how long it's going to take you? How long it's going to take you to get through? Let me jump ahead here. All right, another statistic. This is for those who have poor eyes. You have to jump up and see this. I want you to pick out an exercise or two that you might do, all right? That you might actually do. All right, so if you say, I might do walking, 4.5 miles an hour is 4.5 miles in an hour. Okay, so yeah, I don't go that far, you know, so okay, then you know, but you get this number behind it, all right? So 4.5 miles in 1 hour, your elbows are bent, and you're walking. You know, listen, that's what it takes to get 4.5 miles an hour, all right? Well, let's figure it out. How many calories would you burn for the length of time that you exercise? Well, that's that number behind it. It's a point something, like walking is 0.045. So if I go 0.045 times, it says up on top, you'll say, my calories per pound per minute. That's the calories I burn per pound. Okay, so I'm 178 times 178. I burn 8 calories a minute at my body weight. I'm going to work out for 20 minutes. By golly, so I go, okay, times 20 minutes equals, I burn 160 calories if I walk for 20 minutes. All right, now let's see. How many workouts will that take to burn up? I'm going to do it 3 times a week. So 160 times 3, I burn 480 calories a week. How many weeks is it going to take me to lose a true pound of fat? I'm at 480, round it off to 500, 3,500 calories in a pound of fat. 7 weeks. This is when your jaw drops. I started my exercise program, I haven't seen anything, I've been doing it for 4 weeks. Well, we're only talking about a pound, you're not going to see that. It's, you know, you fluctuate 2 pounds a day on a scale anyway. How in the world are you telling me that my body is that efficient at calorie burn that if I do 3 20-minute workouts a week, it's going to take 7 weeks? I'm not willing to wait that long. Okay, but are you willing to exercise every day? And are you going to put it in that schedule like a date or like on your planner, like it's as high as the other things that you schedule in your day, and you say, no, I have an appointment at that time. That's what it's going to take. And what happens then is you start a cascade effect. in your body, because as your body begins to take a longer endurance, like I can divide this from 7 to 3.5 weeks by just going from 20 minutes to 40 minutes, right? And if I go from 3 days a week to 5 days a week, and I say, you know what? I work 7.5 hours, 8 hours, 9 hours, I don't know what we work here. And one of those hours, I'm not getting paid, but it's my investment. It's my money in the bank, as it were, for my retirement. Actually, why do women primarily have to go into the old folks' home? Because they lose their quad strength, they can't get up. That's how much you atrophy. So you think, I don't have time to exercise. Actually, about 1 minute of exercise produces about 2 minutes of life, energized life. In other words, living life. The convalescence for people who do not exercise is about 8 to 10 years. Where as you exercise, you truncate way down that convalescent time. And who cares about living long? We want to live life, whatever that is, and that really does take an energy expenditure. So if you're not exercising, chances are you're going to live 10 years yet in that convalescent period, but you're not going to be very useful. It's not going to be fun. So if you're thinking about retirement, many of you are saving money for retirement, right? Shake your head. I hope you are. We even match you. What a great thing. We need to plan for retirement physiologically. We do that by diet, exercise, and time management. So good stewards means that we need to plug these in. Now, I like jogging yet. I like being somewhat of a caloric philanthropist. You know, I'm amazed at how people become so efficient that they can tweak calories out of their day. They'll sit at their desk and do 2 or 3 things, and then walk together over there and go to the main campus or whatever, and just minimize it. Where it's really neat if you kind of like, you know what? I'm just going to be moving around a lot more. I knew one executive said, I'm taking the desk out of my office. I'm not sitting. And he doubled his productivity because he wasn't caught sitting down. How long do you stay in a guy's office if he's standing like this? One kind of walks towards the door, you only get a few minutes with the guy, you better be ready. Or he says, you know what? We need to talk about this for a while. Let's go take a walk and we'll talk about this. Off he goes, you don't stay with your executive too long, So there, you just think about being a caloric philanthropist. I can do more. I can do better. And we enjoy, your kids, the children love to do things that are energy expenditure. Now my wife likes a certain level. She'll go on the bicycle. I jog. The kids are on rollerblades. We all got tired at the same time. It's kind of neat, So you think creatively about how to do that, and the more skill you have. In other words, right now you say, I don't like to move. I don't like to sweat. God should not have made me have to move or sweat. I also have a struggle with 24 hours. Shouldn't have been 24 hours. You screwed up. Should have been 36 hours. And 8 hours of sleep, a third of my life, and non-productive rest. What's up with that? Should have been 3. God screwed up. He had some wrong design. Makes sense, right? We'd feel a lot better, get a lot more done. If I only needed 3 hours, boom, I'm back. Some creatures he has that way, but for us, 8 to 9 hours. You start tweaking that, our bodies change, So we got to think about the creation design and then be gentle, as it were, in the rhythm and the expenditure, where we have this real ebb and flow in life. There's a rhythm. Ladies, you're on a monthly rhythm. Guys, we're kind of more a yearly rhythm. There's, I make it through my dangerous time, which is in the fall. So I want to buy everything big. Got engaged, got married. Everything happened. So exercise does build muscle. Muscle burns more fat. Less fat makes it easier to exercise. Exercise builds what they call that the unvicious cycle of fitness. Oh, God. You say, I want to do it by diet. I've been taught that. I can go hungry. What a novel thought. Okay, all right. You're going to go hungry, but you're not going to have a performance body. So what you're telling me is you're going to go on a diet, right? And I'm going to say, yes, I'm going to deny myself food groups. That ought to work. Okay, and you're going to do this the rest of your life, right? You're going to be hungry the rest of your life, right? Oh, well, that would yeah, you're going to be hungry the rest of your life. You go wacky. You don't have a good head. You go wacky if you try to be hungry the rest of your life. So you need to eat till you're comfortably full. If you're just healthy people, don't think about food. We think about it when we finally get to the food line. Oh, it's got to find something to eat here now. The rest of the time, our lives are filled up with much more exciting things to do. If you're thinking about food all the time, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, you're not healthy. You know, that's not that's not the important elements of life and thinking. So even the best research we have say, hey, you go on a diet, forced hunger, diet phase, and the purple is exercise, we can lose. If I put you on a forced exercise program, I was your personal trainer, I'd love to do that. I could come beside you 24/7. Wouldn't that be fun? That's a personal trainer. We just step in and we help establish habits. All right, 30 days, tough. 31 days, you wake up, your body goes, time to go do this. Do what? What we've been doing the last 30 days. In other words, it feels right. He's kind of, what's the problem? Something wrong? Are you sick? You know, why aren't you doing this? Rather than right now where it is like, oh, I hate this. It's so obtrusive. It's not part of my lifestyle. Our little bodies are habit creatures. We just create habits and they stick there. Good habits, wonderful. Bad habits, you need help sometimes, especially in our life. At this time in our life, if you want to change something, like weight, you can't do it yourself. All right, so don't say, okay, I'm doing this all in secret. We really need some external factors that really help us get over those sticking points. That's a wonderful analogy of the body of Christ in action. If you have something that's bothering you, you want to change it, you need outside help, especially when it comes to this very tricky body that will play around with us as we go through this lifestyle change. So anyway, in the diet phase, we had a lot of people lose weight by hunger, a lot of people lose weight by forced exercise. At the end of 8 weeks, we said, all right, we're gonna feed you anymore, a certain program, and look what happens. The minute a person stops their diet phase, the weight goes right back. 8 months later, some of them went, I get the picture. I can't do it by hunger. So they started exercising. You see, man, body eager to drop the weight if you're expending the energy all along. People at the purple that said, I'm not going to work out as hard now, I'm going to work out less, I'm going to start a kind of like a maintenance program, we're able to maintain. Now that's a college age study, but actually in geriatric studies we're finding the body even more eager to respond. So if we were to look at a program and you say, I really want to start this, and you want to have some interesting data, because you know the scale weight isn't going to do it, all right? Your scale's going to do funny things, your body's going to do funny things. For a year, it's going to play around with your head. That's the easiest way I can say it. You think it's going to be you got a smart body and it doesn't want to change, and it'll do a lot of interest, especially if you've lost weight and gained weight. It will wait you out to see if you're really for real, because it's won so many times in the process. If you've gone up and down, it'll take a year to reestablish what I would call a trust, to where it says, there's no famine coming. I don't know why it is, but every once in a while, man, this body doesn't find enough food. It's a famine state out there. That's when you're on your high diet. And so it says, by golly, the next time, I'm going to prepare to endure that famine. And so I'm going to gain more fat. And it's doing everything smart to keep your body running for as long, because you get these hunger episodes that come in. And in fact, people that came back from emaciated internment camps and all that, we could not gain their weight until we fasted them. So we restricted their diet, then we gave them food. Then we restricted and gave food. The same thing we do with people on yo-yo diets. And then we gain the weight. We couldn't just do it feeding them. They wouldn't eat it. So we need to be smart. We actually have to measure, as it were, the subcutaneous fat. I kind of like. All right, so this is a skinfold caliper. It's evasive. It's embarrassing, but if you wanted to, we can. That's the best way. We either do underwater body weight. You got to put a swimsuit on, breathe all the air out, fat floats, lean tissue sinks. You don't want to do that, right? So the next best thing can get you within a couple pounds. We measure your percent body fat. So if we do see a change that takes place, we can't do it by scale, because maybe you're exercising, you're getting good bone muscle density. You got about 800 muscles. You start exercising those, they get toned, lean, heavy, hard. So we do this measurement. There's actually 3 sites that we measure if we were to do this. One is the middle thigh, one is right on the tricep, and for the ladies, the third one is right above your iliac crest, wouldn't you know, for lower, middle, and upper. And we measure those 3, go into the tables. Still haven't done this. I can tell you your percent body fat, which relates to health, without you ever jumping on a scale. Now, if you say, I'm at this percent fat, and I want to go down to this percent fat, then I can show you what you would weigh on a scale. And I'd add a pound or 2 for muscle, because we know the only way you'll be there for any length of time is to have that bone muscle density. But that's a service we do for all our students here. And I have majors that are training to be personal trainers, and so they delight in working with the older adult. And I do that for those that are uncomfortable, if you would like. You know, I can keep that all my brain doesn't remember statistics at all. So we would go in, but you can see percent body fat. Most of you want a scale weight that's somewhere here, and you're going to find out that being in the pink fat, the pink percentage of fat, which is healthy, is a lot kinder on your brain and on your lifestyle. All right, so rather than beat yourself up and have this dissonance based on scale weight, if we did your percent body fat, at least you would know where you're at. Now, some of you thin people who go, I'm gaining weight slowly, I wonder how much weight I could gain, in other words, fat, and still be healthy. So we can actually do the formula the other way, and you could go, okay, I'm gaining weight, but boy, I'm going to fix this pound, the scale weight in my mind, so that when I'm 35, 40, or whatever, I'm not going to go over that. That's when I'm going to have to be a little bit more radical in my change, lifestyle. We will look at, you look at eating. We find all the hidden calories, like here's a teaspoonful of fat. I love fat dressing, don't you? It's great. Why do we have to do it? I don't know, but we do it. That's about the same calories in that little teaspoon as all this complex carbohydrates. I mean, and right here, looking at this cabbage, what is that? Tomato, beans, beets, mushrooms, a carrot, all that together, complex carbohydrates. That's where all the cancer is. You want to fight? You want to fight cancer, ladies? Say yes. Okay, you can't go high protein. You know, we got to fight cancer, right? Cancer's going up. We're up to 40%. You know, fat. Okay, that's one of the indicators for disease. It's a risk factor. But we need to really get the antioxidants in its complex form. We've got about 4,000 antioxidants in this stuff down here. And we gotta put that all together. The more color you have in your diet, the better. This stuff fills you up. A lot of bulk and fiber. The last part of the intestines, guys, this is where we have our problem, right? The colon. This is our highest cancer here, and it like rakes. It takes the polyps, you know, this fiber. It's good stuff. So we need the complex fruits, vegetables, whole grains. Anytime you would take that out of your diet, we are really increasing disease, and we need to fight all of these diseases. And I promised you I would find a... First of all, fat's not bad. In fact, we found out we were increasing heart disease if we took fat out of your diet, too much fat out of your diet. Can you imagine that? We need the monounsaturated and the polyunsaturated, these healthy fats, in order to fight cancer and heart disease. I mean, after all, vitamin E is one of the great fighters for cancer. It also helps our cells in reference to heart disease. So I kind of put this VIPERS, V-I-P-E-R-S, the acronym VIPERS. It's like snakes. But we have to get fat-soluble vitamins. These are great vitamins to have, A, D, and K. It insulates us. Our organs are in folds protected by this, especially if we go out and we become active and you're playing sports and activities. 9 calories a gram. Your body can take any food. And if your body doesn't need the calories from that food, it could be what? Carrots. It could be rice. It could be watermelon. It could be lettuce. Whatever your body doesn't need, it can take those proteins or carbohydrates, and this is so cool, it converts it, changes it to fat and stores it, doesn't throw it out. And aren't you happy that the body doesn't have to store it as carbohydrate? Because carbohydrate and protein is 4 calories per gram, right? That's not a lot of storage. You'd be twice the size we are if we couldn't convert it to fat. So fat's wonderful. I mean, it's there for this storage and for the fat soluble and so forth. And really, there's a lot of complex body chemistry that requires fat. So we no longer say the less fat, the better in your diet, but we certainly know stored fat, there's a healthy range. And so one of the areas that we do look at is your diet, and we want to unfold how much fat, especially hydrogenated, you ladies know what that is, right? Hydrogenated or trans fats. We take a healthy fat that's in the vegetable and we make it an animal fat, basically. And that's where we're having most of our problems, is the palm oils or the animal fats that raise our disease risks. I'm looking for, maybe while I look for that, I'm going to pass out a few helps here. How about if you rip off one of these, pass that, and if you pass that around. Homework, no. If you pass these out. These 3 pieces, if you go to the colorful one, the tear-off one, as it comes around, this is our food pyramid. Actually, we're thinking about changing it. Right now, the base is grains, and that will always stay grains. But we're looking with suspect. Actually, our diabetics helped us figure this out. And that is the white rice, white potato, white bread, white flour, white cereal. Forms much like a sugar. It does raise our blood sugar level, which means we're going to feel hungry in about an hour and a half. So to have a steady release, to fight cancer as well as to fight hunger, we would go for the colorful fruits and vegetables and whole grains. And there's some great fat in whole grains that fights heart disease and cancer. So you read labels. But anything, if you'd write on that lower portion of the grains, that you would avoid the white starches, all right? The white starches, which is rice, potato, pasta, bread. You go whole grain, all right? Doesn't mean you're going to deny yourself nice baked potato or potato, but then we say, okay, we're going to have baked potato. Now we're going to hit it with butter and sour cream, mix it all up about 50-50 and so forth. We can take a potato like which is already kind of a fast-release starch, and we can cut it very thin and, of course, make it into French fries or potato chips. We can go to 50% to 80% fat in the way we prepare food. So we're looking at the hidden calories, which are condiments, the sugars that are added. Most of our breakfast cereals are candy bars. They're processed starches, so they digest very quickly, and then we spray on sugars and corn syrup is anyway. It's the cheapest form of sugar. If we sweeten it, you'll buy it, and if we add fat to it, you'll buy it. So we really have to retrain ourselves to enjoy the complex, the chewing part, the colorful part, the skins, which fight cancer. And then we're careful not to add more sugars or fats in the way that we prepare it. You're using applesauce instead of, oils, which you can get by with in a lot of the foods. You experiment. You're cutting things in half. I love raisin oatmeal cookies. Found ways to do that without having to follow the directions. Nothing. You're not breaking any laws if you change a recipe. And you just say, by golly, I'm going to learn how to enjoy cookies that taste a little less sweet or a little less oily. And you can change that, but and then the serving sizes, our plates get bigger and bigger. And so you really want a lot of fruits and vegetables and whole grains, this colorful stuff, and a little small entree. Right now we have it backwards, where the bigger the meat, the more you have. There's almost a one-to-one relationship between fast foods and weight. There's certainly a relationship between eating, or between watching TV or sitting and eating. The more time you sit, the more fat you have, basically, is what we're finding as a general rule. Habits of highly successful dieters. Expect failure, but keep trying. You'll have some good days, some bad days. You're going to fail some days, but you never give up, never surrender. And just like exercise, there's some days I don't exercise, some days you don't exercise, some days I don't eat well. But by golly, I'm gonna set a pattern that I can always get back to. Don't deny yourself entire food groups. Don't deny yourself. Take small portions. You can eat anything. Everything's metabolized. There's probably something good in that piece, and you'll find ways to tweak it by preparations. It's tweaking. It's small things that you do. You just change and modify it, and pretty soon it feels right. It feels comfortable. Weigh yourself often. This is very controversial. When I say often, it might be once a week, once every other week. The idea is that you're establishing a constant to look at. And so you're accountable, as it were, and that's what these people do that have really lost weight and kept it off. Plan an hour a day of vigorous exercise. Are you kidding me? Yeah, you actually have to buy some clothes for this, and your laundry grows. Memberships, $25 at the health club. I couldn't do it all winter long. I like the outdoors. I like all the weathers. I know some people that the weather, they'll exercise within about a 2-degree variance. Oh, can't work out today. Look at that, it's cloudy. Oh, the wind's 5 miles an hour. Can't do it today. They got all this, parameters down so they talk themselves out of it. No, some of my best walks have been, and jogs have been when that crystal cathedral is there with all the frozen, and I'm having to go like this because I'm afraid I'm going to fall, and I'm burning all kinds of calories because I'm, trying to stay up, but it's just gorgeous out there. Nobody else is out there. So, in other words, enjoy the variety of God's creation and engage in it vigorously, actively, with your children if you can, because their habits are set very, very early. $25 for a membership at College Park. I mean, if I could buy a pastor and his family one gift, the church is going to go together, it'd be a health club membership for the family. Preferably where none of the other practitioners can be. But the idea is that you really have to have ways to overcome our obstacles. And then you get into the habit of going to work by way of the health club. You clean up, use our shower, hot water, towel, shaving cream, whatever we do. College Park doesn't make any money off me. I don't have any dirty towels at home. I do everything at College Park. But I'm in a habit of going there first before I ever go to my office, or from my office, I don't go straight home. If I want to exercise, by the time I get home, I'm not going out. So I've learned I have to do it. Same with my wife. She won't exercise, so what do? Pick up the phone. Let's meet over at Independence Grove. What a great place. My taxes are paying for this most incredible place. To walk around a lake and sidewalks and paths and right by this Wings River Trail. It's just gorgeous, So we have all these different trails that we have. We have to meet you there, and then we debrief the day. And by the way, ladies, if you have an issue to work with a guy, move with them. We're not good sitting. We need to talk. But if you say, let's go for a walk, okay, as long as I'm moving, I can deal with issues. It's very hard for us to stop and actually deal with the kind of issues we have. Plan an hour of exercise and then be that caloric philanthropist. Find all the ways to throw calories off in your day. Eat 5 high carbohydrate, and that is, people are mixed up here, but it's complex carbohydrate, but it's carbohydrate, all right? It's the fruits, vegetables, whole grains. It's not the simple carbohydrates of sugars and pastries and processed foods and cereals and so forth. It's the complex, it's the whole grain. And that's what really does it, a low-fat diet. And then eat 5 meals a day, small meals, as it were. All right, so if I were to summarize, God made us to work. He made us to get up and create physically. It would be great if you could do that in sports and activities. learn skills for the rest of your life. It will pay great dividends later on in life. Exercise is the language of babies and children. You don't touch them, you don't move them, they die. We need to stay connected to that. Wonder should be part of your life, where you get out and you enjoy breathing life deeply. Sweat's not a bad thing. It's great to break out in that on occasion. You need help. We really need to stay together on this, find accountability, and we need to overcome obstacles. I would encourage you to get some confirmation of where you're at by getting an assessment. And then we can sit down and go from there, and I'm delighted to help you out as my schedule would allow. And then tweak your diet. But the main emphasis for weight loss is bone muscle density. And this idea of having a schedule of release or activity that's commensurate with the food that we want to eat, and eat till you're comfortably full. Otherwise, you're probably going to gain weight. If you find you're denying yourself huge food groups, nobody stays on a high-protein diet the rest of their life. You get sick of it. Body and brain, it doesn't work for anyone at the time. Here's a diet study that we do with our students. You can see that we go way beyond just writing down food. We actually try to look at hunger level, activity, place of eating, others' presence. Fascinating to go in and unearth your eating behavior. This is something you could do on your own, and it would help identify. On the back of that food pyramid are serving amounts. Guys are always amazed, like when I say, how many French fries make a serving? And they go, well, are you telling me, what is it, 10? On there? 10 French fries? Well, shoot. Guys use that as a mouth. We'd call that a mouthful. It certainly wouldn't be a serving. We supersize things anyway. So this is interesting to go through, and this little bullseye chart's wonderful to plot, as it were, nutrient-dense foods close to the center and junk food towards the outside, so you get kind of a visual. And then with children, if you want to work with them, a very interesting handout is that scoreboard where they gave positive points for healthy things, negative points for high-fat chemistry, added sugars, and so forth. And there's actually numbers, and the idea is to have a high-numbered diet, and you can start seeing where some of the foods you may be surprised, like Gatorade and so forth. You know, even our athletes. When I took these students on a 2,200-mile bicycle trip, they started out with Gatorade straight, then I had to cut it to 50%. By the time we got to the desert, they didn't even want 10% Gatorade, they just wanted clean water. And it was so interesting to see how their body changed when they were doing 80 to 100 miles a day of biking, and as the weather really got difficult, challenging, 110 degrees and so forth. So another place to really look at is, do you really need to have calories in your beverage? And at the end of the day, if you have diet beverages, which is fascinating chemistry there, versus non-diet beverages, you at the end of the day have the same amount of calories. So drinking diet beverages doesn't help you in weight loss. That's what we're finding out. But please don't switch to a high sugar, because, like I said, that's the battle, is liquid calories first. If you're looking at tweaking, and then it's just the condiments, and probably just changing your liquid and your condiments over a year's period, you'll drop a few pounds. Now you add exercise into that. Make sure you don't go hungry, and like I said, track it for a year. It takes that long to have the real changes take place. I'd even encourage you to journal if you'd like. Wow. No time for questions. Our phone number is 7096. You can always call and just ask a quick question. And it's so nice, the phone system's here. You just get to press a button and it gets back to you. So if thoughts come to mind, if I can be of further help, I'd be delighted to. Yeah, I think this ought to be a credit program. This is good stuff. If they did these things, you did over a 10-week program, we give you college credit.
Any quick questions? We've got 2 minutes.
2 minutes?
3 minutes?
What's a K-cal?
That's the formal way of just saying calorie.
Do you know if these daily requirements are
different than those in other countries?
Oh, yes, very much. In fact, the Mediterranean diet is showing itself even better than ours. They actually include exercise in their pyramid. But our real struggle is we have a very high animal, high processed food diet. And our serving amounts, we don't eat till we are full, we eat till we hurt, basically, in our diet. That's what we're training us to do, to get your money's worth. And the servings continue to increase. At other countries, they break down, even like olive oil, they'll have that as the right kind of fat to eat. And they'll actually identify that you would have 2 to 3 red meat servings a month, I think is the Mediterranean diet. They're much more into the fishes and white meats. And the meat that comes from combinations of grains. You know, eggs and grains are in the meat category. If you see it in there, they just get their proteins from grains more than animals. Well, I'm going to try to get this untangled.
And thank you for coming. I'm not certain.